What's happening, MuniciPals? This is Big C. Let me tell you about a great place in Vision Golf. Indoor simulators have exploded in golf, and Vision is leading the charge here in Portland. With the use of leading simulator technology in Golf Zone, you get transported to 200 plus courses across the world with the most realistic simulator experience you'll ever come across. With a hitting mat that not only gives you the turf to simulate real rough and sand conditions, the mat also raises up and slopes to create real live positions like playing on the actual course. If you're in need of a lesson, Vision Golf also has you covered with the PGA teaching pro Ignacio Cern. On top of that, they create an atmosphere with full bar and food options and sports on all the TVs that you're never going to want to leave. This is a great place for all events to be hosted with the VIP section to accommodate groups of all sizes. If you live in the greater Portland area or even the Pacific Northwest, you have to come out to a Vision Golf and check it out in Tigard, Oregon. Use code MUNICIPALS and you will get your first hour for free on your first visit. Also, check out league nights and monthly events. Envision Golf, the Pacific Northwest premier simulator facility.
How hard did you push it? Till I black out? Yes. Numerous times, yes.
What's happening, MuniciPals? This is Big C. We are starting a fun series that I got to go on an adventure with two of my good friends and friends of the podcast, JD and Bean Mace. We did a little trip to Bend, played in a Northwest Golf Guys event over at Crooked River Ranch, but we are going to start this series with the course that we all got to play together when Bean got into town, and that is Eagle Crest Resort course. So they have three courses out there. They've got the Ridge course and a par 3 course on top of the resort course, but we went out and played the resort. I want to get these guys to chime in. What's happening, fellas? How you been?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Hanging in there, slinging clubs, getting to chat with you fellas is always a pleasure, so I'm excited to have you guys on. How you doing, Bean?
Oh, doing great. Drinking some bone broth here, watching Aaron Judge back home run number 50. It's a great night.
He is having a heater this year. It's ridiculous. And being
right,
and having a little bit of injury through the year. It's been kind of crazy. But let's talk Eagle Crest Resort course. Your guys' thoughts, kind of getting out there. We got a really nice Vacasa house on the Eagle Crest Ridge course. Didn't get to play that course, but it looked kind of cool. We got to go out and play the resort course. What were you guys' thoughts when we drove out across the road to go play the resort course?
I mean, it was a fun little golf course. I think the what we had heard was the Ridge course. I think you said it was the Ridge course is the harder of the two, more challenging of the two, if you will, and the resort course is, say, a little more player friendly. But I mean, I thought it was a fun, kind of straightforward, exactly what it's called, resort golf course.
Yeah, other than all of us getting accused of stealing water in the clubhouse as we're about to get out there is awesome. I liked it. It was, kind of goofy, but didn't really expect much more than that. Had a great time out there. Some cool holes, some weird holes, and, it's a good time.
I forgot about Watergate.
Oh, she was aggressive. Very aggressive. I guess it's not the thing to purchase water when you purchase your tee time. I guess it's not how the flow works at Eagle Crest Resort, but she questioned each one of us one after another after we grabbed a water. After we paid at the cashier, walked over, grabbed the water, did the exact same thing 3 times in a row, and roasted each one of us every single time. She was a gem.
I think she was hoping for a tip on the bottled water or something. It's the only thing I can think of.
It had to have been a slow day. You don't just do stuff like that unless you just really haven't had anybody coming through that day.
She was
True.
locked in. Yeah, I'd love to have her working like security at a store that I owned. She's on top of her shit.
You know who was a gem though? So when we approached the first hole, the starter, he was awesome. You know, giving us all the pointers, where to hit the ball, what not to do. I mean, he was a true retired guy that probably either lived in Bend or moved to Bend in retirement, getting free golf, working at the resort, you know, having a good time. He was a good dude. The rest of the staff was really awesome.
He's obviously given that spiel a number of times, but I'm fairly confident he practiced it in front of a mirror before delivering it the first time. Like that was a curated tight five, if you will, from a comic standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like when you get on a flight doesn't have the TVs to do the safety message, and they just rattle it off. That guy was incredible.
He did. I'm sure we're going to talk about it. He scared the shit out of me, though. I had basically just written off the fact that I was going to get attacked and eaten by a rattlesnake by the time we were done on that golf course.
He was a little aggressive when it came to the rattlesnake talk. I mean, he was like, you know, it's a little cool out today. You probably won't have too much issue with it, but you know, there's a lot of rattlesnakes out there. Don't be going too deep looking for your balls. Like, cool. You know, we're all from big cities. That's not our thing. No, we're good.
Yeah, I'm not messing with rattlesnakes, man. Don't go left on 2.
Yeah, or right.
And then even the guy that we let pass us on 2, the single, even gave us another warning where he was like, "Yeah, don't go look for your balls over there. You guys, rattlesnakes are usually on the left, not on the right." We're like, what? What are you talking about? They don't know what side they're on.
Oh man,
Crazy.
I mean, Bean, I feel like you should kick us off, man. You got the round started on a high note.
I played one good hole out there, and it happened to be number 1. Teamed up with JD against Chris and oh man, I'm blanking on his name. He was even my partner at the tournament. Ethan, yeah, Ethan. Dude hits the hell out of the ball.
Last minute ad, you know, call out to our boy Bradley. You know, he hooked it up with that last minute ad to get us in that tournament.
Ethan was the man. Loved playing with that guy. Yeah, I came out hot, stuck one close, and tap in birdie. Yeah, other than that, that's where my day basically ended. It was all downhill from there. Fully jumped on JD's back and expected him to carry me. And
I didn't.
By 18, it became too much. I broke the man down, and I owe him a few for that one.
So I want to kind of get into it. Let's go favorite holes out there. So favorite holes for me at Eagle Crest, I would definitely say, you know, visually, from a visual standpoint, I thought number 2 was a really, really good hole. You know, you kind of walk, you get a handshake on number 1. It's straightforward, wide open. Everything's kind of in front of you. The green is really, you know, friendly. Not a lot of undulation. You know, it's just there, you know, for you to be able to score low, which I think Bean was the only one out of all of us that took advantage of that. And then you walk, or we carted across the street, and you kind of enter into this, like, Narnia, you know, situation, because you're in this, like, wide open desert style resort, and then you just kind of enter into this area that's all tree lined, and, you know, canyons on both sides. It's a fairway that kind of snakes along, and you're probably 30 feet, 40 feet elevated from the base of the fairway. And then it doglegs right heavy to the green on the right-hand side on the other side of the canyon. It was just a really cool, visually, like, stimulating hole. I don't think it was an extremely fun to play hole. I don't think any of us played it extremely well other than Ethan. But I do really appreciate kind of what they were able to do with the landscape and kind of create that type of hole there that you probably wouldn't get at a lot of the other courses in the area. I think that's might be one of their, staple holes if you were going to claim a hole on a golf course. What about you, JD? Favorite hole?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like 2 was, like you said, 2 was cool to look at. Could have done without the 90-degree dogleg 400 yards downrange. That seemed a little unnecessary, for lack of a better term. I mean, I hit a great drive, and I hit 3-wood as opposed to driver because I didn't think I could fit driver on that fairway. And I couldn't see. I think I hit 8-iron up over the trees, and it was just a total. I knew Ethan had a good look. Was just a total guess as to where to go. I'm going to go with 2 holes, though, on the backside. Back-to-back holes, actually, on 14 and 15. 14 on the card says 334. Keep in mind you're at elevation, so probably playing closer to 300, maybe a little over. It was a little downwind, so certainly, something that you could think about getting after in terms of trying to drive the green, but it gets pretty tight. I just thought it was a really good-looking hole, had a big green that wrapped around a bunker. One of those kind of short holes that you look at on a scorecard and you don't think much of, but one that can absolutely give you fits playing. Probably one that you play a few times and settle into the fact that you're just going to hit an iron and a wedge. Realistically, I think that's probably the way to play it. And then 15, I thought was the best par 5 on property, straight downhill. There's a tree in the middle of the fairway. There's trouble both sides. Downhill tee shots with trouble both sides are hard. I hit one 4 counties left, and then re-teed and got it in play. But I just thought it was a cool-looking tee shot. You kind of overlook most of the property, and coming right off a drivable par 4 was kind of fun.
I would say 15 is probably one of my favorite par 5s on the course. I thought it was kind of a risk-reward hole that kind of allowed you to play it in multiple different ways. I think 15 was super, super good. Bean, what was your favorite hole out there?
I'm with you guys. I liked 15 a lot, but I'm going to go with 17. It's the hole that's the photo on the scorecard. It also looks nothing like any other hole out there. Decent par 4, about 400. Water on both sides. Green gets real fairway gets real skinny as you get to the green. A real nice approach shot into that green. You got a bunker front left and deep. Water on the left, and you got to shoot over water on the right. So, kind of an interesting approach. 2-tiered green. Pretty tough when you got up there. There's some weird putts waiting for you on that green, but that was definitely my favorite hole. And like I said, nothing like any other hole out there. Not very much, desert looking at all.
You just got super exposed out of nowhere, right? I mean, I remember that hole as all of a sudden you get there and the wind was just ripping kind of left to right and maybe a little behind us. And you really hadn't felt a lot of that in the back through the trees in the back 9. And the 2 ponds obviously get your attention. Probably a kind of a layback for most people. Call it something that's a couple hundred yards off the tee, 220-ish, something like that, which leaves you a longer shot in. Kind of hard to really challenge the water because being, as you said, everything pinches in. That was a good golf hole.
I got
really like that one. Kind of challenging. Some weirdly placed bunkers there, about halfway down the fairway as well.
I got absolutely ejected on 17. I put a ball in the water twice on 17. So, what wasn't a good hole for me? One hole that I definitely got JD actually started a nickname for me. Because of this hole. So on 6, I actually duffed a shot right off the tee, it's a little bit longer. I think we played did we play whites or blues that day?
Blues.
And so it was about 550. And so I duffed my driver right off the tee about 120 yards out. Like, I mean, it was bad. Then I decided to just smash my 3-wood as far as I could. Pretty good shot. Little on the left-hand side. Get up to it. Have about 235 left. And I'm like, all right, just going to do it again. Smash 3-wood again. Hit it to about 15 feet. 2-putt for par.
You didn't hit it to 15 feet. You hit it to like 6 inches and tapped in for birdie.
Yeah, okay. 6 inches tapped in for birdie.
You landed it like 57 yards short of the green, and it ran all the way up there, played a little ground fade. You will forever be known as D3 square. Just driver 3-wood, tap in for a birdie, off we go. I flushed a driver, probably my best drive of the weekend. Hit 5-ironed it, probably 15 feet just over a ridge. Thought I played the hole really, 2-putted for 4. Thought I played the hole great. Chris was getting a pop, lost the hole. There we go. On to the next one.
Hey, I've always claimed myself as being Jordan Spieth 2013-14. So like the downfall of Jordan Spieth's career when he was going into his lull, my off the tee game, it is a true who's to say situation. You're really not gonna know what the fuck's gonna happen there. It's gotten much better. I'm finding more fairways, but my scramble game is what keeps me in.
I was sitting there off the tee after you just cold topped it and was like, all right, cool. Hit a good drive. Knock one up there close to the green. You got this hole in the bag. You hit a 3-wood up there, fine, whatever, no big deal. You hit another 3-wood, kind of came off a little low, a little left, starts coming back. I'm like, oh, it's going to be okay. And then it just kept rolling, rolls all the way up. It's like, had better pace than any of my putts all day. Rolled right up over the ridge, settles into like a foot away. I wasn't happy.
Yeah, I would say the underlying story of the entire weekend was JD's putting was non-existent for the entirety of the weekend.
It wasn't good. No, I'm sorry, Chris, for the way the tournament went. I was not gonna lie, like 7 holes in, I almost started putting with a wedge, but I just thought that would be rude. But it wouldn't have been worse, I can tell you that.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was. Hopefully you've got it figured out. You were testing out some different putters. You're seeing if something else was working. I think you changed up your grip.
We're getting closer. The claw, I'm telling you, the claw is the way to go. I just got to get something that I can get some feel with. The only putter I have right now that it seems to work with is a super soft insert that doesn't work for me. But yeah, we're getting closer.
Figuring that out. Well,
I can make a 3-footer.
Hey, start there and keep moving it on.
Start
out.
somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's the only thing I'll ever be able to talk shit to you about in golf.
Yeah,
so.
Anyway, we're not going to belabor the point. It was bad. If you've seen bad putting, multiply it by some number, and you're going to get close to what it was.
Well, let's talk about any holes out there that you kind of thought were either gimmicky or just bad holes in general.
Bad holes. The uphill par 3?
That first par 3 uphill with the super slope 2-tiered green, nothing would stay. It's just, I don't know. It was
I missed a 3-footer, so
hit some good shots there and didn't even get rewarded. So
I would have gone 4 actually. So kind of that back to back. I don't think 4 was bad. It's just out of bounds is really tight on the left. Out of bounds gets kind of tight on the right. There's a set of bunkers that's out there that's not very far. And then the green is pushed all the way back towards a ravine that you can't really see. So like from a resort standpoint, I felt like out of bounds on the right probably doesn't need to be there. Out of bounds on the left is houses. You can't do much about that. I just felt like they could have maybe moved the green back and right. They could have changed up the design a little bit to make it a little more player friendly. I mean, it was nerve wracking enough for me off the tee. I think I hit 5-iron off the tee just to try to get it in play. Bean, I think you hit it close to out of play. I think Ethan hit it out of play. Like, not a long hole, but there's just not a lot of room to hit it. And it's not like it's one of those that there's not a lot of room to hit it because it asks you to hit some sort of shot. It's just sort of this wide open, nothing to look at. There's a couple of bunkers, and then you've got white posts on both sides, which I don't personally really like.
Didn't like that. And, another one that I didn't like was 16. I mean, one thing I didn't really like about 16, it was kind of just boring and mundane, but also you could tell the resort course was built a while ago. They built a hotel on that kind of borders the green of 16 and the tee box of 17, and I don't think this hotel has been updated probably for 30 plus years. And there's like a bunch of like little hood rat kids sitting outside, and like it was a rough scene when you entered that green. You were just like, this not. I mean, this might have been all right 30 years ago, but man, you guys need to get that updated a little bit, because it was just kind of a sore spot, probably in my opinion, to kind of the rest of the course. It just.
I tried to jumpstart the renovations for him. I tried to play the bank shot off the resort. Didn't work. I mean, that's just another one, right? It's over 200 yards. I don't think the scorecard I'm looking at doesn't have the blacks. I think I actually played it one tee further back than the blues. So I want to say it was like 220, maybe even a little bit more for me. And I mean, 220, it felt like it was pretty hard back into the fan. It was a 3-tiered green. Like, shorten it up by 20 yards and don't bring the patio of the resort into play. Its cart path is just left of the green, so I tried to hit kind of a low hooking shot in there and missed it. What would have been, little left of the green, but it flies into the cart path, hops into the resort. I don't think it needed to be that long. And if you want to make it that long, take the tee box and push it back. I just don't think the green needed to be that close or that long. I mean, the green had to have been, I don't know what you think, 40 yards deep, 45 yards deep. It was huge.
Maybe. Yeah, and you've got that pond that I mentioned for 17 is right next to the tees on 16. I think you mentioned the wind starting to whip up back there. It's just, it's not ideal to be hitting into a hotel with kids running all around, like you mentioned. Just bring it in a little bit, widen that green out.
There's no, it's all penalty behind, and there's no relief at all. And I mean, with the amount of space and how wide open it is, you can be way more creative with that par 3.
The last thing that we have to talk about, I'm not letting him off the hook for this one. The fucking mirror on 10. Good night. I mean, it tells you, go look at the mirror. It's a blind tee shot. I hate blind tee shots. So I'm walking up to 10, probably just 3-putted 9. Walking up to 10, not very happy. It's a blind tee shot. You can see to like the top of the hill that's 150 yards in front of you. You have no idea where the hole goes after that. And it says, make sure to look in the mirror so you can see when it's clear to go. I go stand to look in the mirror, and, it has this box that's pretty well defined of, hey, probably want to stand somewhere in here. So I stand in the box, and all you see is the trees that are right in front of the mirror. Like, literally, like 5 feet, and then maybe the top of the hill. So basically what I can see from where I'm standing, it is pointless. Absolutely pointless. That's...
Yeah, it was all scratched to hell, tucked behind the tree. You couldn't see it to begin with. Like,
maybe the water lady was trying to start a collection for a new mirror. I don't know.
I'll gladly buy them a new mirror if
there was no reason to even have it. I mean, just get up there, trim the trees, clean up the mirror a little bit.
When it was what, like...
It was tiny,
like 15 inches by 15 inches?
And
the thing was
pointed
tiny.
in the wrong direction. blocked by trees. So not well done.
Not
or
well done.
Someone came out there and just screwed with it, but I don't know. You got to know that it doesn't work, and you probably should fix it, especially if you have that bad of a blind tee shot from that hole.
If it's a busy day, I mean, it wasn't swamped when we were out there, but if they get busy, you got to figure that people are getting kind of beamed left and right. I will say that the par fives out there, 2 we already talked about, little odd, but a cool hole nonetheless. The par fives were all really good. Most of the holes you wouldn't say anything bad about per se. The mirror on 10. There's some, I would say, mundane holes. 18's kind of mundane, 9's kind of mundane, 8 kind of is a wide open runway. It's a little longer, but it's not too much in front of you. But overall, that's what the golf course is, right? It's a friendly resort-style course that's meant to be fun for a lot of different people to play. I certainly enjoyed it. I thought it was a challenging enough test. It can get somewhat narrow in spots and allow you to score in others. So I don't think there were any atrocious holes. There's just some that maybe lack some character and some that maybe have a little too much character.
Yeah, I kind of had the same thought process on the course. I think it's a great, fun, family-friendly environment out there. I thought the staff, other than the crazy water lady, was really welcoming and open. The cost to play, I think with cart, we paid right under $70. I think it was like $68 to play, and I thought that was very, very reasonable. Conditions were really good. We didn't have any issues condition-wise. Tee boxes were all nice and flattened. Greens were in good shape, not dimply, running really smooth. Running at a nice solid 10. Not crazy fast, not slow, but it was a well-designed course for what it is. And if you're in the Bend area, I would definitely recommend it. I would say, if there's other courses out in Bend, and we'll review some of them, that I would absolutely recommend, over the resort course here. And, I've played a good amount of them out there, and I would say, there's a good handful, 5 or 6 that I'd put on top of that, but they're all going to be double that price. For the most part. There's a couple gems you'll find for a good price, but most of them are going to be double that price.
From a value perspective, it's pretty good, especially just the density of golf, right? The challenge course, the par 3 or executive, whatever that may be. We didn't play it, but we saw some holes on it. Looks fun. The ridge course, I think, is a little bit more challenging, and then they have that putting course there as well. So from like a stay-and-play perspective, where you don't really have to leave property to do anything, I think there's some value in that for some people as well.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we brought the girls with us. Bean brought his girl, and I brought my wife, and he brought his kid as well. And it was great because they had a pool, and there was a lot of activities outside of the golf as well. So if you're going to make it up to Eagle Crest or to the Bend area, I would say just for the family-friendly, aspect of it, I thought Eagle Crest was awesome in that aspect. And the house we stayed at was great. It was really, really good property.
Yeah, fantastic. Had a great time. Played like shit and still had a good time. So, that's, a little nod to the company there as well. But, yeah, the course was good.
Course was solid. We enjoyed it. It was a good time. Stay tuned. For the next episode, we're going to chat about the course that we played for the Northwest Golf Guys event, Crooked River Ranch. Thanks for tuning in, guys.